Hey y'all, Moses here. Just wanted to give you a quick heads up that the sponsor for today's video is Mastrop. I didn't have a good way to make a video about these little guys. These are the ADC3 in-ear monitor headphones that I used all the way through Europe, wherever I've been traveling. I love these things. The in-ear comfort is great. They have great sound isolation. The sound is terrific as well. I'll leave a link to these down in the description, as well as the giveaway link for the K7XX Mastrop Edition headphones that are the giveaway that's running for this month. So it's easy to enter. Check out the EDC3s. These things are amazing value. I love these headphones. I take them everywhere I go, and enter that giveaway and enjoy today's video. Hey y'all, Moses here. Today I'm here to talk to you about the biggest patch in recent memory for PUBG. I stayed up all night playing God of War, so I'm a little bit late. Apologies for that, but I'm here to talk about it nonetheless. So let's jump right into this thing, shall we? So going over the patch notes is going to be a little bit longer than normal today. There's a huge amount of changes. There will be no gameplay to include because I haven't had a chance to play this yet. So for those of you looking for gameplay and not just a talking head talking about patch notes, I suggest you move on now. So let's talk about the initial stuff. So right out of the gate, this is a weapon balance, new vehicle, new weapons. This is as big as 1.0 was, maybe even a little bit bigger, because it's really going to change the entire landscape of how PUBG works as far as gunplay is concerned, and a lot of other little things. So right out of the gate, they say that it's going to take a little bit longer to test this patch than normally would. So hopefully they don't push this thing straight to live. Who knows? I mean, we've seen some craziness in the past with that kind of stuff. So anyway, hopefully this actually stays on the test server for like a week or two, not just a couple of days. All right, so weapon damage changes. This is probably the handiest chart so far. There are some additional stuff in here, so don't go crazy as soon as you see the changes here. But out of the gate, pistols have been significantly buffed. The P92 does an extra 5 damage. The 1911 does an extra 5 damage. Essentially, aside from the Glock, there's a 5 damage weapon damage increase across the board. The Glock did get slightly buffed as well, but it's not as crazy as the other pistols. The ARs have received a slight damage nerf, only one damage less than they had before. The AKM remains at 49 damage, which is actually 1 more damage than I thought that it was. But so the AK does almost 50 damage per shot. Grows the same thing, but all the other 5.6 rifles have had their damage slightly reduced. Shotguns, same thing, slightly reduced in damage. The sawed-off and the S12 do the same, but the 686 and the 1897 do 1 damage less. The SKS also has a significant damage increase, going down to 53 from 57. The VSS has a 1 damage increase. The new SKS, the SLR, has had a slight damage. It is 58 damage. It is essentially almost replacing the SKS in a damage perspective. I wonder how the SKS will handle after all that balance changes, because there's some more to come from that. The Mini has had its damage slightly increased as well. And now, this is a big one. The Micro Uzi, the UMP, and the Vector have all had slight damage increases, but that's not all. So only one damage across the board for the SMGs. The DP28 has also had a slight increase in damage, as has the M249. The DP getting a 2 damage increase, and the 249 only getting a 1 damage increase. Now, the ARs have been rebalanced, so none is the objective best. So RIP M4. The power differential between each is now reduced, but each brings advantages to different situations. SMGs have been adjusted to be more effective in short-range combat, and shotguns increased overall damage and effective range. So the shotguns have received an overall buff. I don't know why it lists it as a decrease in damage and then says increased overall damage and effective range. Maybe that comes in with the pellets or something like that. All right. Let's jump into the meat of the weapons changes. Again, this is going to be tedious. We're going to be talking about it. This is going to be a long-ass video. All right. So the pistols, straight up damage increase. No changes there other than that. Shotguns, increase the limb shots modifier. So shooting limbs now does more damage. Slightly increase the damage. Slightly decrease the damage of the 686 in 1897. Reduce the pellet spread by 25%. So the pellets will be a little bit tighter, and the shotgun chokes can now be attached to the sawed-off. Okay, fair enough. So the base pellet spread is smaller. The increased damage to limbs is there as well. So that should overall increase its damage to a point I cannot speak to. SMGs increase the limb shot modifier as well. Slightly increase the damage of all the SMGs. Decrease the vertical recoil on all SMGs. Decreased recoil and scope sway when moving in ADS. Increased ADS transition speed. So the SMGs are moving towards a quick hitter, short range beast from the sounds of it. The Micro Uzi was already good at decent range. The Vector and whatnot is decent as well, but I think overall the SMGs are going to be much more powerful than they were before for a couple of reasons. The first is that you can move in ADS and have less of a penalty, so you can also get into ADS faster. So moving while ADS will not have as much of an impact on your recoil and sway than it did in the past. And not to mention vertical recoil was already, especially on the UMP, was already really good. So I'm going to imagine that fully attached, the SMGs are going to be really nice handling and will be much more viable now. Maybe not more viable than ARs, but will be in a better place than they were in the past. ARs. So this is where things get a little wacky. Slightly decrease the damage of all the 5.6 rifles. Increase the reload time of the SCAR, M16, and M4 by 30%. Increase the reload time by 10% on the AKM. Increase the vertical and horizontal recoil of all ARs except the AKM. Decrease the recoil recovery rate for all ARs. Restricted big scopes. You cannot use the 8X on ARs anymore at all. And added new recoil animations for all the ARs. So I don't know how it's going to handle because I haven't played it yet. So the recoil animation bit is interesting because that does play a factor in the recoil landscape. However, the quick draw for ARs decreased the reload time by 30%. So fully attached, the ARs will have as fast a reload as they did without a quick draw before. So the increased vertical and horizontal recoil for all ARs is also interesting. I don't know what that's going to be like. We'll see. We'll see. I think this is definitely going to reduce the effective range of ARs significantly. But without going too far, I think the 8X change, that's okay. Whatever. So that's fine. Not a big deal. The 4X was my preferred on the ARs as anyway, and for most players outside of competitive, this is going to be an okay change. The competitive scene will not be happy. DMRs, increased head, body, and limb shot modifiers. Decrease the damage of the SKS, slightly increase the damage of the VSS and Mini 14, increased vertical and horizontal recoil for all the DMRs, decrease the recoil recovery rate for DMRs, and add a new. So this is essentially the same changes that have happened to the ARs, except for the fact that they now have a damage increase on all body parts. So the DMRs should overall be more effective, but harder to handle. So again, interested to see how this affects overall handling, mainly due to the fact that DMRs were already, I mean, specifically the Mini and the SKS, which were the only two DMRs anyone ever really used, already had fairly decent recoil. So we'll see how that handles overall. Now, the increased damage should be enough to offset that, but again, we'll see what that actually looks like. Because the limb modifiers do not factor into the base weapon damage at all. So I think it should be relatively balanced. Maybe it'll be more damage overall, but again, we'll see. They do say later on that essentially recoil control is going to be a primary factor in how you handle DMRs. Yeah. Other guns slightly increase the damage of the DP28 and the M249. Restricted big scopes again on LMG, so you can't use 8Xs on the DP28 or the 249. Reduced crossbow reloading time again. So the crossbow buffs continue. All right, so the crossbow reloads a little bit faster again. Weapon sway has been adjusted for all weapons. Slightly increased side-to-side movement, and sway is now more pronounced when holding your breath. Weapon sway when moving is now also reduced by the cheek pad attachment. Cheek pads now help you recover from weapon sway more quickly after moving. Okay. Throwables. This is interesting. Increase the explosion damage and added new hit effects and animations for the frag grenade. So the grenade that is already super powerful is more powerful now. However, previously, grenade damage has been greatly dependent on fall damage from the weapons, so the grenade's knockback effect rather than explosion. We've removed the grenade's knockback effect for player characters and have adjusted it so that only explosion damage is applied when you're struck by a grenade. So it no longer knocks you back. So that'll prevent that bug, hopefully, when you get hit by a grenade while you're jumping, that it launches you into the side of a hill and kills you. That's a nice change. Hopefully this is overall just a balance of how the grenades function, because right now the knockback effect is pretty deadly, and that was an issue for a lot of situations when it comes to grenades. Still not sure about how the new explosion damage is going to... Hopefully it's not even more crazy than it is now, but regardless, we'll see. Weight changes. So this will also balance how many frags you can carry. So essentially that's what this means. The higher the weight, the less you can carry. So frag grenades have had their weight increased to 18, which is the highest weight of all the grenades. Molotov and smokes have been decreased, so you can carry more of them, as have stun grenades. Stun grenades you can carry a lot of now, because you could already carry a bunch of them before. You can carry 10 of those things now if you want to. But overall, you can carry less frag grenades. You can carry more of the others. So you can carry more smokes, carry more stuns, more Molotovs. Smoke grenades you're going to be able to carry a lot of now, because the previous weight was 16. So yeah. Anyway, character movement slightly decreased the movement speed. We're going to speed up a little bit here. Slightly decreased the movement speed when holding SRs, LMGs, and shotguns. So you can't move as fast with those. We've removed the first shot delay when your character is not sprinting. Remove the first shot delay when your character is not sprinting. Okay, so you, like, moving and shooting will be a little bit faster now. Chambering a new round in certain weapons. The M24, Kar 98, 1897 no longer limits you to walking speed when aiming down the sights. Oh, interesting. So when you're moving, like you shoot, you can actually continue to move at a regular speed when chambering the Kar 98 or the shotgun, which is a good change. It makes shotguns a bit more effective. The amount your camera shakes after being shot now depends on the amount of damage received. I really hate aim punch. Whatever. Level 3 helmets now only spawn in care packages. Fair enough. Both SR quick draw magazines and SR extended quick draw magazines now only spawn in care packages. Strange change, but okay. Reduce the spawn rate for AR extended quick draw magazines, and DMRs now use AR attachments. Oh, okay. That makes more sense. So DMRs now use AR attachments, magazines, compensators, etc., along with SR attachments. So they can use both, but the bolt action extended rifle stuff now can only be found in care packages, which is fine. I mean, it's only an extra 2 bullets in the case of the M24 and the AWM, so not a big deal there. Adrenaline syringes are now a world spawn item. They are a rare world spawn item. Adjusted the casting time of adrenaline syringe down to 6 seconds, so it'll be a faster cast, which is interesting. Whatever, fair enough. All right, so now the actual gameplay changes. Here is the new weapon. They're definitely not FN FAL. It's not supposed to look like an FN FAL at all, even though it kind of does. Anyway, I'm not a gun guy. Maybe I'm completely wrong. So added the SLR. The SLR is now a world spawn item. It's a DMR, which uses 7.62. The SLR is more powerful than the SKS, but has more recoil. Recoil control is the key to using the SLR effectively. All right, so they were only talking about the SLR. And now there's a new car, muscle car for highway driving. Murado is what they call it. It is a muscle car. It's better for the streets. Not as good off-road as the other vehicles. So hooray, a sweet muscle car. Looks nice. I like it. New attachments. Now, again, have not played with any of this. This is all new to me. Duckbill, a new attachment for the shotguns. It reduces the vertical pellet spread but increases the horizontal bullet spread. Okay. Light grip. It reduces the recoil recovery time, but increases vertical and horizontal recoil. This is attachable for all the ARs and SMGs and DMRs. It reduces recoil recovery time, but increases vertical and horizontal recoil. Okay. Thumb grip. It reduces vertical recoil, but increases horizontal recoil. It also increases the recoil recovery time. Attachable to everything. Half grip. It reduces vertical and horizontal recoil, but also reduces and also reduces recoil recovery time. So the half grip sounds like the best out of all of them so far. Attachable to everything as well. There's a 3x scope now and a 6x scope. So we go for 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 in magnification. Interesting. So we have a lot more choices in magnification now. It's discoverable as a world spawn item as well. You can now change the reticle style. You can see that here. So you can change. That's kind of nice. I like that. I like the chevron one. I like the crosshair, the circle. All that stuff seems cool. That's what the circle's only on the 2X. It looks like, so you can change the color. Nice change. Nice quality of life change there. You can use that. You can change it on the fly. You don't have to change it in your settings. So that's cool. Boats now sink when destroyed. We've made some adjustments to the way swimming works to reduce the effectiveness of hiding underwater. Decrease the maximum submersible time from 35 to 15 seconds. You can only stay underwater for 15 seconds instead of 35. It's a huge change. When you've run out of air, you'll now take 10 damage per second, up from 4. Holy crap. We've increased the delay for breath recovery time from 1 to 4 seconds. Wow. That has huge implications in competitive. Not as much in regular gameplay, but for competitive gameplay, that's a huge change. Wow. Okay. So map selection and map selection UI are now live. We've seen that change already announced in the past. We've added an option to adjust vertical mouse sensitivity. So that was okay. That was a bug before where your overall mouse sensitivity was not proportional from vertical and horizontal. That was changed in a patch you could do yourself in the settings, but now you can change it yourself. We've added an option to change the hotkey for reporting a player during kill or spectating. Oh, okay, so you can change the hotkey for how you report people. They've increased the size of the Oasis in Miramar. We've added extra farming spots by placing small building sets near various cities and towns. We've reduced the number of buildings in some cities to cut down on excessive building density. We've removed some excessive cover points inside various cities and towns. We've added more objects like trees and rocks throughout the map to provide additional options for cover in wide open spaces. And the interiors of certain buildings have been simplified. Nice. All good changes. Bug fixes. We reduced the overly dramatic collision effects. Reed space shuttle takeoffs that occurred when the motorbike crashed into other vehicles. Okay. We fixed an issue that would sometimes prevent you from hopping off the motorcycle when it had fallen down. Fair enough. When players move and shoot at the same time, bullet shells should now fall to the ground and remain there instead of chasing the player like hella scary demon bullets. All right, cool. The timer of the final blue zone should now display correctly. Cool. We fixed an issue that was muting the blue zone. Resolved an issue. Sometimes adjust your camera to see through ceilings. Problematic terrain elements. Hopefully not crashing into random bits of terrain anymore. That would be kind of nice. Abnormal orange lighting. Collision problems. Walking on wooden structures will no longer create bizarre or out-of-place footstep noises. Prone characters should no longer clip under the ground. We've resolved an issue that sometimes limited movement after using emotes. Text on an umpskin, weapons and ammo. Okay, whatever. All right, that was a lot of stuff. That was almost 20 minutes of me talking only about the patch. That's as little time as I could have taken. So I'm going to cut it off here. This is a lot of changes. A huge, like the game is almost fundamentally different now than it was before. So leave your comments down below with all the things I just talked about. That was a lot of talking. Hopefully it wasn't too bad. Let me know what you think about these changes. Like the video if you liked it. I'll be playing the test server on twitch.tv/wtfmoses today, and we'll see how it all functions. And I expect my review follow-up after this, hopefully in the next day or two. But come on, check it out. twitch.tv/wtfmoses, and we will see you next time. Thanks, everybody.